Okay, so for this next video lecture, so we are still under the value chain analysis. So we will be discussing about exploiting the supplier linkages. So this is part of the external linkage. Okay, if you could still remember in our previous video lecture, so under the external linkages, we have two types. So the first one is supplier linkages, and the other one is the consumer or customer linkages. Okay, so for this uh, external linkages or the supplier linkage, so the value chain system also includes these activities, okay, performed by the suppliers and the buyers. So a firm cannot ignore this interaction, of course, because this is uh, considered to be one of, these are considered to be the most important as well, activities as well of the enterprise, because aside from their production, the suppliers, okay, who are the sources of our input for processing, as well as the buyers, okay, who are ultimately the consumers, okay, of the goods and the services that we are providing, are part of um, the generation of our sales and ultimately the profits. Okay, so the linkages with these activities are, of course, external to the firm, and they can also be exploited or taken advantage of. So, exploiting these external linkages means that we should manage properly, okay, these linkages, so that both the company and the external parties will receive an increase also in benefits. So here, the benefits or the advantage will not only be on the part of the entity, but also for uh, their suppliers and the buyers at the same time. Okay, so the total control or the total quality control is an approach, okay, to manage this uh, quality that demands the production of defect-free products. This is also for the benefit of the entity to reduce their cost of production and the cost also for on the part of their customer, or to increase, the value, okay, when the customer purchase and use the goods. Okay, so reducing the defects will also, as mentioned, reduce the total cost spent for the quality activities. Okay, so here we have an illustration. So, for example, a purchasing manager uses two suppliers for the source of two electronic components. That is component X1Z and component Y2Z. So the data for these two components are supplied. So the activity costs, which includes the component failure and late delivery, are attributable to the suppliers. Okay, so when this happens, the process failure is caused by the internal processes. Okay, but of course, this is, or the suppliers also contributes, okay, to this activity cost, because um, of the component failure, meaning a substandard component might be delivered or there's late delivery. Okay, so it will affect the internal processes of the entity. So this is these are part of their activity costs. Okay, so here the data is being provided. So the activities under this is reworking of the product if in case of the defect. Okay, So the component failure or late delivery cost $200,000. For the process failure, so it will be 40,000. For the expediting, I mean the products. Okay, so for the delivery to be on time, or to fast track the delivery, so it will cost them additional 50,000, and it might have a process failure of $10,000. Okay, for here we have these two suppliers. We have the Fielding Electronics and RO Limited. So their purchase price, units purchased, failed units, and late shipments are data are being provided for these two parts. Okay, so for the requirement, so we have the following. Okay, the first is we will calculate the activity rates for assigning costs to suppliers. Okay, the second is we will calculate the total unit purchasing cost for each component for each of these two suppliers. The third is what if the quantity of X1Z that can be purchased is limited only to 50,000 units from Fielding and 30,000 units from Oro. There is no limit from either the source in the case of component Y2Z. So based on cost, what purchasing mix should be chosen? Okay, so based on the data given, so this is our solution for requirement number 1. Okay, so again, requirement number 1 is to calculate the activity rates, okay, for assigning cost to our suppliers. So here we have for the reworking rate. Okay, so that is $200,000 as provided in the table. Okay, so divided by these are the failed units. Okay, so we just add all of them. Okay, 80, 195, and 5 units. Okay, so we divide it by the total reworking cost. So here, for the reworking rate, that would be $200 per failed component. Okay, so this is how we assign the cost, okay, to suppliers in terms of the activity rates. Okay, for solution number 2, so our requirement number 2 is to calculate the total unit purchasing cost for each component for each supplier. So here, we have the following data. So I don't know if you can see this one. Okay, cannot see it. Okay, so this one is for Fielding products. Okay, so all we have to do is just to multiply, okay, the cost with its corresponding number of units in terms of failed units. Okay, so we use this data right here. Okay, then multiply it with its cost. So this is for the X1 to X1Z, Y2Z, and also for Oro Limited. Okay, next is for this one is, I guess, expediting. Okay, this one, okay, this one right here is for reworking the products. The second row is for expediting. So the same also, we just multiply it with the per unit cost and the shipping. or late shipment. This is our cost driver, or cost or the activity, okay, that creates the cost for it, okay, for both these two components. But here it's under fielding electronics only. So based on the data, there is no late shipment when it comes to Oro Limited. Okay, so and then after that we just add these costs, okay, and then we divide it by the total number of units. Okay, so we have here the unit cost, and then okay, we will multiply it with the unit purchase price. Okay, so therefore our total unit supplier cost will be, okay, that one. So that's 14.75 under fielding electronics for X1, 2, and so on for the rest of the components from these two suppliers. Okay, so again, the bottom line here is that you should direct the activities with the cost drivers, okay, to get these costs, and then we will divide it by the total number of units, okay, and multiply it with the purchase cost. Okay, what about for requirement number 3? So based on cost, the lower cost is X1Z, which is equivalent to 15,000 units from fielding and 30,000 units from Oro. Okay, for the X52, so we will get 25,000 from Oro. Okay, so here by we will just have a check, okay, based on the unit supplier cost, multiply it with the number of units, and then the combination of the number of units where we can get that at a lowest cost. Okay, so this is our mix, the optimal mix. Okay, so that is for the supplier linkages. What about for customer linkages? So this is also part of the external linkage. Okay, so customers can also have a significant influence, of course, on the firm's strategic position, because they are the ones where we get our sales and profit. Okay, so choosing marketing segments is also considered to be one of the principal elements that define strategic positioning, as mentioned, okay, in our previous video lectures, especially in the introductory part. So here, a key objective for managing customer costs for strategic costing is the identification of the sources of profitability. So meaning to say, this again is related to the selection of the target market or segment in which the entity can sell their goods or services. So once customers are identified, here profitable, or the increase in satisfaction. Okay, so meaning to say, you can become profitable if you will be able to increase the satisfaction, okay, of your customers, while you can also be unprofitable, okay, if we attempt to deliver the customer service efficiently or not, okay, or if you are able to decrease the service cost or increase it depending on the outcome. So an organization can be taken to strengthen the strategic positioning of the firm. Okay, so here normally, when it comes to customer linkages, the important thing is that you should increase the profitability. Okay, this is done by increasing satisfaction. So this can be done through the internal processes. We need to say lowering the cost but not sacrificing the quality, or delivering the customer service more efficiently and to decrease the service costs. Okay, so we have no illustration for customer linkages. So this is for exploiting the external linkages under the value chain analysis.